Discussion by the planners or questions? Priscilla?
Microphone. Yeah.
Well, I've been living in Upper Dublin since 1986,
Started something wrong.
so I'm following some of you. So I've been here a pretty long time, and I've seen the whole township change, and like it's been said, the roads and the traffic. But it's not just Upper Dublin. It's Cheltenham, it's Springfield Township, it's Horsham, it's Hatboro. It's life where we live. It's a very desirable area. We don't live in Carbon County, Pennsylvania. We live in an area where there are good jobs, where one of you was saying, you know, the income levels here are great. We don't have a lot of crime. We have an excellent school district. And bringing in new development doesn't mean that we're going to be bringing low life into the township. We had new apartment buildings I live in Dresher. We had that whole complex, there's 12 apartments. There are over 55. You know, they came in. And it's surprising, you think that they're going to change the neighborhood and ruin the neighborhood. They haven't ruined the neighborhood. When development comes in, there are traffic studies that have to be done for each development, and road changes have to be made, if any road change is made. But this is just an ordinance for change. We're hoping that it brings things, that improves things, like you were talking about construction, that improves things for a while. But sometimes we just have to take a chance on things, and if they don't work, they can be changed again. They were changed from 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. It can be changed again. We all live in Upper Dublin. We do not do all this research ourselves. We're all volunteers, and our specialty is not any of these engineering kind of things. We come, we listen, we hear, and we do the best we can. So we're hoping that it is all for the good.
Thank you.
We are the Planning Commission. We are volunteers. We're here with the same concerns that you have. It's not like we're working or planning in a vacuum. We don't have legislative authority, but yet we are governed by existing law. We're not developing the office park. We're making it available for development. We're attempting to produce regulation which will provide for a controlled development. It's a leadership role. We can't take polls for every decision that we're going to make. Leadership doesn't work that way. You've elected leaders. We're not elected, but you have commissioners to whom you have given authority to act in your best behalf. Nobody here wants to function at your worst behalf. We share your same concerns. We are constrained by law, and the developers need to have the opportunity to bring their plans to us, and their development will be also constrained by those laws. Right now, you're looking at a dying, fallow, underutilized, underdeveloped area that is serving no purpose, and we're attempting to give life to it. Hopefully, we'll do a good job, and with your help, we will do a good job. But it has to be done. It's just going to sit there and be a drain for you. It's a tax drain. You have security and trash and maintenance that all has to be paid for. And it's going to get worse and worse. So we're attempting to utilize that property, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with a plan which will be mostly satisfactory to most of the people, much of the time. Will not satisfy everybody. that's for sure. But we're trying.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm just going to say something. What you had.
Microphone.
Microphone. What you had, your vision of what the office park would be like a community where we have open space green. That's what I'm hoping this ordinance does. You know, I'm one of the ones who want like the trails and stuff like that because we need to have that connectivity. So I'm hoping that this does to the office park what you were talking about, and I want to thank you for your comments on the office park. I'm conflicted again, you know, when I look at when we were talking about Dawsfield and that kind of stuff come in, I remember my father discussing that coming in, and my God, look at what's going on and all that kind of stuff. So it's every generation. When all the big developments come in, it's the same thing. Unfortunately, with the traffic, and being an engineer, I hate to say that, but most of our roads have been designed back in the 30s and 40s. And when these new developments were coming in, like Dawsfield and Dublin Hunt and all that, no one did anything to our road work then, when it should have been done. And now it's a burden on the township or the state. And the state's not really going to come in and say, okay, we're going to widen this and give you all kinds of money. You know, so unfortunately, the traffic and the roadways are what we have, so we can do stuff with traffic signaling and that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, the roads are what we have. And I just foreseeing that going more and more and more, and it's going to be from things that are not inside of Upper Dublin. You know, whenever the Navy base develops, the quickest way to come down to the turnpike is through Upper Dublin. You know, who's going to go down 611? That's going to be even more traffic, and we have no control of that. But I'm hoping that the industrial park, or the greater Fort Washington, we have some kind of open space. We have some kind of neighborhoods developed. You know, we have some kind of greenways and that kind of stuff. The other TDR ordinance did not work. So that's when someone said originally, well, you know, we did this flood retardant stuff and nothing happened. Well, the TDR ordinance we had did not work. It didn't give the things that we thought it was going to do. So we are now trying something new. And hopefully this will work. You know, we're not perfect, but hopefully this will work. So that's it.
Glenn?
I'm probably a lightweight. I've only lived here 29 years. But I've spent 40-plus years in the commercial real estate business. And I know people are concerned about the density, and certainly I am too. I live in Birdland along with Priscilla and Commissioner Gushu, and I see the change in the traffic. However, developers need to have an incentive to build. Right now, they have no incentive. No residential, no retail under the EC zoning has been allowed up to now. This is an opportunity to let developers come in, test the waters. They need to know their framework of development. Without the balanced mix of density, it doesn't work for a developer. If you restrict density to 20 units, they're not going to come to develop. I think the ordinance has been very well thought out. I think it provides an open framework for developers to come in, and they'll be the ones that'll decide how many units, what's the size of the units, who they're orienting them to, and I won't mention the M word or anything else. But it's up to them. It is not our purview to say how these are to be built. The developers will come in. I feel if this had been put in 5 years ago, I think there would be at least a few apartment mixed-use developments within the park, which would have and will help us down the road. My other comment is traffic is ubiquitous. There is no place you can go in the Philadelphia metropolitan area where there isn't traffic. Unfortunately, we're saddled with, as Gary said, roads that are 50, 60 years old that were designed and laid out at a time when this was a farm. I believe the traffic studies are trying to ameliorate as much of that as possible. And the way I look at it, yes, if you have 45 minutes of traffic backed up in the morning and another 45 minutes in the afternoon, call round that to 2 hours. I mean, the rest of the 22 hours of the day, I mean, you come out at 10 o'clock and where that traffic was backed up, and it is, I've seen it, there's no traffic. There's nobody there. So, yes, it is an issue, and I think everyone on the various committees are looking into that and taking that into account. But the park needs to be developed. At one time, I believe, when the initial park in the 60s was humming, our taxes were pretty low in Upper Dublin. I didn't live here at all, anywhere remotely to that, but I've been told that because there was so much taxation coming in, this office park was bustling. It obviously fell off the wagon, and we've hit some really hard times. The township's investment in the retarding structures, the dry dams, all the other things they've done is our one opportunity to bring this back. This ordinance fulfills and propels that. Thank you.
Roger.
Mr. Chairman, I really don't know what else I can say to add to what's already been said by the other members of the Planning Commission. I agree wholeheartedly with everything they've said. I think this is an improvement to a dying area of the township. And as we've stated, we tried something before with the TRD and it didn't work, and we're going to try this now, and hopefully it does work. But we're all here trying to make Upper Dublin better. Thank you.
That's great, thank you. So the Planning Commission has worked on this since November of 2018. We've studied it, we've revised it. 17. We've studied, revised, we've worked on it, we've been back and forth, we've thought about it, we've had professionals, we've had guidance, and we've had data. And we're at a point where we're going to make a decision, and our decision is based on a recommendation. It's not our purview to actually enact this ordinance, but I feel that we're at the point where we should move it forward. And I wanted to see if we have a recommendation or a motion.
I guess I'll make a motion. I motion that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners, and I don't see a ordinance number on this, Rick, so I'm just going to say the draft that was dated 4/12/2009.
4/12/2019.
Yeah. I recommend that to the Board of Commissioners that they approve, and we have no comments other than what was brought up tonight with the your memo of the couple of things.
The memo outlined the key
Memo outlined
changes.
the key changes, yes.
Yes.
And we'll take a vote.
I would second the motion.
Okay?
Aye.
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 Aye, unanimous, all in favor.
Yes. Okay, copies of the ordinance are on the township website. Go to the homepage, upperdublin.net, at the very bottom. There's a feature on office park zoning, and all of the current ordinances are posted.
Okay, thank you.